Previously on Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots.
Since the beginning of our nation, women have been serving in vital roles in the military, alongside of the male counterparts.
While fighting in the Revolution, Margaret Corbin shed her blood at the Battle of Fort Washington.
It's imperative that our American community see the true experience of what our women are accomplishing every day.
Years later, in Afghanistan, Leanne Hester became the first woman in American history to earn the Silver Star for heroism in combat.
If there was bad guys out there, we'd go out and find them.
During the Great War, thousands of women volunteered for service as Navy yeomanettes and Army Signal Corps Hello Girls.
One of the most significant things about this whole period, it's all volunteer.
Healers have been in harm's way since the earliest days of the Civil War.
These women went to Europe, they were on the front lines, and these were the women who first saw poison gas.
And they continued to serve heroically in the global war on terror.
Who will protect us? Who will leave your homes? Who will leave your families? And these women said, I will.
In a world where front lines no longer exist, America's female patriots confronted the horrors of war as never before.
I remember thinking, I'm going to die right here. I knew this was going to be an unsurvivable wreck.
And more suffer the effects of combat stress than at any other time in United States history.
I tried to commit suicide.
In 1997, the nation's female patriots were finally recognized when the Women in Military Service for America Memorial was dedicated at Arlington National Cemetery.
There are so many memories of the dedication, and one of them is a quotation from an Army nurse when she wrote, "Let the generations know that women in uniform also guaranteed our freedom, that our resolve was just as great as the brave men who stood among us, and with victory, our tears fell just as hard." And that's the mission of the memorial, to let the generations know that women in uniform also guaranteed their freedom.
And now, Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots, continues.
Sledge call 1 Lancer 6-1 on ops.
Lancer from Sledge, status.
Lancer's backup with 2 engines and 24.
I came from your kind of standard patriotic, middle-class American family. My parents took us to an air show, and I saw an aircraft called the F-4 Phantom flying. It was loud, and it was fast, and you could smell the jet fuel, and it was technology and power. And that was the day that I decided I wanted to be a fighter pilot. And at the time, literally that year when I was 5, women were not allowed to fly fighter or bomber aircraft. When I was in the 6th grade, all of us had to stand up and talk about what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I remember standing up and saying that I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and a lot of people started laughing. And I remember my teacher at that moment informing me, very unceremoniously, that it was against the law for women to fly fighter aircraft. My dreams that I've had since I was 5 were being shattered right before my very eyes. And it was hard to realize that everything I thought I could do, that I wanted to do, that I dreamed of doing, wasn't going to be allowed because of some law. I served as Thunderbird number 3, flying in the right wing position in the diamond formation. It was awesome. My dad, of course, he was the one who would wear the Thunderbird t-shirts and walk around and let everybody know that his daughter was up there flying. My mom, on the other hand, I'm not sure she ever saw a complete air show. She would go inside sometimes and not watch. I'm like, Mom. My dad's out there, that's my daughter, that's my daughter. It's kind of funny.
Women Air Force service pilots, or the WASP as they were known, are a great example of how women, when called upon, are able to bring to the military skills for love of country and for love of what they were doing.
The WASP are the Women Air Force Service Pilots. They were America's first women military aviators, and they served during World War II. At the time, there was a shortage overseas of male combat pilots, and General Hap-Arnold, along with Jackie Cochran, who was the leading female aviatrix of the era, saw that there was this untapped resource in American women who were absolutely capable of flying these aircraft.
There were 1,074 of us, and we flew every type mission that any male military pilot flew within the continental United States. We logged 60 million miles.
They flew everything from trainer aircraft to big bomber aircrafts like the B-29, B-26. They even flew fighter aircraft like the P-51 Mustang. They would be test pilots. And oftentimes, they would be the first people stepping into aircraft that were fresh off the manufacturing line. So sometimes there were flaws in those aircraft.
You would take an airplane that had been wrecked or had major repair, and then before the cadets or the instructors could fly it, we would have to take it up and test fly it to make sure that everything on it worked.
One of the other things that the WASP did that's very little known is that they helped develop some of the air-to-ground strafing tactics that were used in the European theater. So when you would see the fighter aircraft dive in on, say, a moving train and shoot bullets, those WASP were the ones developing the tactics here stateside. And anytime you point an aircraft high speed towards the ground, there's going to be risk.
Well, anytime you get off the ground, isn't it a little dangerous?
I would argue that one of the most dangerous things that the WASP did was tow targets. They would tow these banners behind them and let the male pilots who were training for combat shoot real bullets at the target they were towing behind their plane.
We would fly out over the Gulf of Mexico and we would let out a tow behind the airplane, and a B-24 that had, I believe, 7 turrets on it. Those gunners would shoot live ammunition at that target so that they could test how accurate each gunner was. I think each new mission, they felt that women couldn't do that. But I think we proved that women are as capable as men. Airplanes don't know the difference between a man and a woman. They just know the difference in a good pilot or a bad pilot.
38 women actually gave their lives to their country in service as WASP. Their fellow classmates would have to raise funds to ship their body home in poor pine wood boxes.
We were not militarized so that the government wouldn't pay to send a body home. So we took up a collection, and then we found out they would not let us put an American flag on her coffin.
They took the same oath, they wore the same uniform, they graduated the same flight training, and they were not afforded any of the benefits of a military officer. And they should have been.
I don't think I sacrificed anything. I think I gained. We loved our country, and we kept those values: honor, integrity, patriotism, service, commitment, and faith. Because with God's help, nothing is impossible.
Have you written a book and want it published? Thousands of authors have with Page Publishing. If we decide to publish you, your work ends and ours begins.
Call for your free author submission kit.
If you have Medicare, listen up. The Medicare enrollment deadline is only weeks away.
With so many changes, do you know if your plan is still the right fit? Having the wrong plan may cost you thousands of dollars out of pocket.
And that's why I love Health Markets, your insurance marketplace.
With their new Fit Score, they compare thousands of plans from national insurance companies to find the right Medicare plan that fits you. Call or visit Health Markets to find your Fit Score today. In minutes, you can find out if your current plan is the right fit, or if there's another one that can get you extra coverage or help save you money. Best of all, their service is completely free. Does your plan have $0 copays, $0 deductibles, and $0 premiums? If not, maybe it's not the right fit. Does it include dental and vision coverage? Well, if not, maybe it's not the right fit. How about hearing aids, glasses, and gym memberships at no additional cost? Maybe there's a better fit for you. Call Health Markets now or visit healthmarkets.com for your free Fit Score. We can instantly compare thousands of Medicare plans with all of these benefits and more, including plans that may let you keep your doctor and save money. With the annual Medicare enrollment deadline coming, don't waste another minute not knowing if you have the right Medicare fit. For this free service, go to healthmarkets.com or call right now.
Having helped enroll people in millions of policies with an A+ customer satisfaction rating, you can trust Health Markets.
Don't assume that your plan is still the right fit. The Health Markets Fit Score makes it easy to find the right Medicare plan for you.
Health Markets doesn't just work for one insurance company. They work to help you, and they do it all for free.
Your insurance marketplace, Health Markets.
There may be Medicare benefits and savings you're missing out on. Only Health Markets has the free Fit Score. Call 800-880-9931 before the deadline. That's 800-880-9931.
Attention military service members. If you or a loved one used dual-sided combat arms earplugs during duty between 2003 and 2015 and then suffered from tinnitus, ringing in ears, partial or total hearing loss, ruptured eardrum, you may be entitled to financial compensation. These earplugs manufactured by 3M Company expose thousands of U.S. military service members to damaging levels of sound. Learn more about your legal options. Call Thomas J. Henry today for a free and confidential consultation or go to tjhlaw.com.
Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots continues.
I'm standing on some amazing shoulders. A lot of people fought for the right for me to be able to wear that flight suit. From the WASPs of World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen, right? To fight for the right to fight. Doesn't get much better than that. One mission, one goal, one team. We're all in it together. And truth be told, I wanted to fly jets when I was first coming in. And I studied my butt off. But I was ranked number 4. And there were only 2 jet slots that week. So I went off to Hilo Land, and I said, well, if I have to fly helicopters, I want to fly the baddest thing out there. And that was the Cobra. The firepower of the AH-1 Whiskey Super Cobra attack helicopter is absolutely amazing. And I used to like to make the analogy of the Cobra being like a wasp. You know, it's like it's in, it's out, you know, zinging. Supporting those troops on the ground and protecting our troops from ambush and, you know, taking out buildings where enemy are hiding. That was one of the main missions of the Cobra. And when the enemy hears that aircraft coming, they move.
When you fly into combat or serve in a combat theater, it's really about doing what you've been trained to do. There is a sense of pride and satisfaction in finally being called upon to do what you've spent years, if not decades, training to do. There's a sense of huge seriousness, a sense of huge responsibility. There is a somberness to that, because what we're talking about at the end of the day is life and death. So when you make a decision to drop a weapon, that's life and death. This is serious stuff. And so it is taxing. It's taxing mentally. It's taxing emotionally. When a young soldier or Marine is yelling for help on a radio, it becomes very personal very quickly. From my vantage point at 15 or 20,000 feet, I don't see it, smell it, hear it, feel it the way that those young Marines and young soldiers are. And when you hear that fight going on a radio, that weighs heavy on your heart. There are days that you get called in to help and you're too late. And it's very personal and very real on the radios. And when you fly home from something like that, it's very quiet. It's very quiet. You think about your spouse, you think about your parents, you definitely think about your kids. The men and women of the military were human beings. We feel. A lot of us have lost friends in service to our country. This is not something that's taken lightly at all. This is a huge responsibility and something that we take very seriously.
Have you written a book and want it published? Thousands of authors have with Page Publishing. If we decide to publish you, your work ends and ours begins.
Call for your free author submission kit.